Oh, setting up your webinar live on Facebook. Here we go. Here we go. Are we there? We are there. Welcome, everybody. Happy Tuesday. We are back with our conversations to raise the collective conscious. I wanted to get back to, there we go. There's our start page. It is December 1st. I don't know how we got here. It still feels like March, but it is December and we're just going to go with it. I am so excited for my guest today. Archna has been a soul sister and dear friend since the moment I met her. And I'm so excited that we get to talk with her today about emotional mastery and ascension and all these things in between all that. So let me tell you a little bit about my dear friend Archna. Archna Khattar. How's that? I'm trying to do that better, right?
Archna Khattar, it's fine.
Psychotherapist, I'm so sorry.
No
Energy healer and coach, born and raised in India in a deeply spiritual family. Archna has always been spiritually inclined and a seeker of understanding the mysteries of the universe. See, this is why we are dear friends. Through her 20 years of psychotherapy practice, she has found the importance of doing the inner emotional work in order to gain higher levels of consciousness and maintain higher frequencies of love, joy, and inspiration on a more consistent basis. This is why we are here having these conversations. This is exactly what Midwest Elevation is about, those higher frequencies of love, joy, and inspiration. She is passionate about teaching people how to do their own personal energy management for a successful personal and professional life. She offers coaching programs to help them learn their own internal energetic makeup, recognize where they are leaking their energy, and how to restore their personal balanced energy. Welcome, Archna. I am so glad you are here, and I am so glad we are speaking.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. This is amazing what you're doing, Renee. Every single week, you are bringing on a conscious conversation to the planet and raising everyone's awareness. This is awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. It is definitely my passion as well, and doing the work myself right alongside, everybody on the planet.
No, I commend your commitment to show up every week to do something pretty consistently. It definitely takes commitment.
It does indeed. Well, and it lifts my soul. It doesn't matter what has been happening before this very moment, but having these conversations with amazing people like yourself every week really fills my bucket.
That's the thing that happens, right? We feel inspired at a soul level to do something. The inspiration comes down. But at the human level, you still got to bring your commitment, your word. You got to show up. You got to do the hard stuff. And it's like that's when the divine and the human meet in order for something to manifest. That's when they say, it's awesome to receive divine guidance. It's awesome to be in the upper chakras because everybody prefers to be there. It just feels so much easier. But to actually bring it down into the material world, to set things up, to deal with scheduling, to show up and actually do the work, without the human aspect of the work, it wouldn't be complete.
I'm so happy to hear you say that. That's been, because it's been such a struggle. And I don't know if this is something you find too in other conversations you've had with people, but, I've had a tendency to be like, when I get a taste or a touch of that spiritual life and the wholeness and the joy that all brings, and I think, oh, I just want to be in that forever. Why, I'm stuck and I feel stuck in this human body. But you're absolutely right. And to hear you say that just now actually was very comforting. But because we are in our human bodies, and we do have to show up in our physical world, in a way that not only honors, our soul, but also honors the earthly plane that we're on right now.
Exactly. We are the boots on the ground, actually moving one thing to the other, A to B, to make something manifest, because thoughts and ideas and inspiration and energy is where it starts. But in order to actually breathe it down, birth it into the material, it requires the human aspect of us, the discipline, the spiritual discipline that we have to use in our human beingness. Because you might have noticed, human kind of wants to not hold themselves in discipline, right?
Yeah, I don't know.
All kinds of things come in the way. I'm sure you don't know what I'm talking
Yeah, no.
But yeah, so it's an interesting interplay of divine and human, as if the two are separate, right? Like, we're so used to thinking about them as if the two are separate. But divine ideas need the human action, and human intention, human desire needs the divine guidance and bigger picture in order to navigate the whole thing, right? So it's really teamwork.
That's brilliant. Divine ideas need the human. What did you say? I was like, wait, I'll come back and find it.
Yeah, so the divine cannot experience itself without actually manifesting into the physical, right? The divine is sort of trying to experience itself through the physical manifestation. And so, like, this connection between you and me right now, it's physically manifested conversation happening using a computer, using the internet, right? There's all these things available. This flow of energy, flow of communication, flow of ideas, flow of, like, oh, is happening between us because we're making this connection in a physical way. The divine sort of, I feel like we create this, if you wish to create something in the physical world, you have to walk the physical walk to make that happen, right? And that requires some discipline. But if you don't have the divine inspiration or the idea that comes that, ooh, what if we hold a conversation every Tuesday and it will reach people and it might spark something in them that speaks to their inner truth, and that might align something with them, right? The idea was there, but if you didn't act on the idea, it wouldn't manifest and the spark wouldn't actually reach to the listener.
Right. Wow. I love the way you just pulled that all together, and I think, of course, of all the millions of ideas that, which we all do. I mean,
Right.
We have a million ideas, and picking the ones to commit to.
Right. And then the block can happen. So if you get ideas, right? So let's talk about in terms of the 7 chakras, right? Everybody's probably heard about the chakras. And the upper chakras are more about connecting to the divine guidance, or tapping into the non-physical inspiration, idea, guidance connected with the flow. The lower 3 chakras are about being present in this world. The first, second, and third chakra are all about how am I gonna bring my divine into my physical manifestation, in my physical body, in my relationships, in my work, in my, everything that I'm experiencing physically. So if you're not connected with the upper or higher or divine, now when I say higher, I'm talking frequency in terms of, so it's an emotional scale, believe it or not. That's so the frequency is really, while we're in a human body, the frequency we're going up and down is an emotional frequency. Like, if we learn to navigate the different frequencies that we are capable of experiencing via our emotions, that's how we navigate opening up our channels or closing our channels for the energy to flow. Not sure what happens when we're not in the physical form, But while we're in the human body, I think the way to navigate consciousness is really through the frequency of emotions. So when I say frequency, you can almost have a sense of the frequency of fear, right? It has a certain frequency. Or anxiety has a different frequency, or just worry, or a frequency of hurt, or a frequency of just sheer panic, right? Or a frequency of feeling at ease in the flow, playfulness, love, right? If I say these words, you can almost feel that each one of them has a different frequency, and you can almost put it on a scale. Some people have put it on a scale to just sort of see how the continuum can go. So the higher frequencies are accessible to us if we have worked through our lower frequencies and understood their patterning in how they block our lower three chakras, especially in our sense of place in this world. Do we belong? Are we safe? Are our needs going to be met? Interpersonal relationships, sense of self, feeling productive, effective, useful in the world, right? So if these things are in place, we have our channels open. We have the lower three chakras open. That then opens up the heart. That then opens up the higher frequencies where we are intuitively in resonance with the guidance the soul is constantly sending us. So the soul, and sometimes we hear the soul's guidance, we hear the divine, we like being up there because being in a physical body is freaking hard.
Yeah.
It's just freaking hard, right? Living this physical life is just hard. And the part that makes it hardest is that we forget that we're not just a physical body. That illusion that happens the minute we come here, that makes us believe that we are just this physical being and we live in a limited world, and this is a wall, and I am hungry and I need to go make a living to buy some food to feed this growling tummy, right? It's just there's perceived limitations that feel very, very real.
Yeah.
And there's perceived solidness to things that feel wrong, hurts that happen, things that go bad. It feels very real, it feels very solid. So we are in that illusion that all that bad is happening is real, and we forget that we are energy. We forget that we are manifesting each and every experience that we're experiencing. And forgetting that makes it really, really hard. It's like walking around blind. Even though you have eyes, it's pitch dark. You just gotta figure your way out, and you don't remember how you got dropped here. You're just in pitch dark, right? And
I get you.
Yeah, and that's what makes it the hardest. So learning to ignite that light inside you is the dual process. I frequently wonder, like, how does that happen? How does the change happen? So if I'm talking about psychotherapy practice, right? Clients come to me for emotional pain or trauma, or they're struggling with anxiety or fear. Some people are ready to make that shift, and some people, we work with them for a long time and the change does not happen. So I frequently wonder, like, the timing of that. My sense is that there is divine guidance coming through on a certain timing pattern for people. And then it's about learning to work, like, so that your inner eyes can start to open up. You'll start getting, we are constantly getting a little whisper from some conversation or from a song or from a book or from a therapist or from a friend or for something that brings something to our experience, to our understanding, to our awareness that, oh, that's what's going on right now.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Well, and you can hear the same thing, but or the same thing can be said to you over and over and over. And until either like that block has passed or, an experience has passed, then, you hear something so differently in a moment that, when you're ready for it, they say, right? When you're ready for it. But what are those ways that you can be ready? And, how can you carry yourself to be open to those whispers, to be able to hear those things, more clearly or more regularly, where you're not feeling so.
So whether we're able to hear or not hear depends on the filters we have on. Depends on the protective mechanisms we have in place inside us that make us, whether we stay in our shell, not taking any input because we don't trust what's coming is actually going to be helpful, or there's a crack in there and some information comes in and said, oh, look, oh, that's what I've been feeling. Or you come across some idea, some book, some course, something that makes it realize, oh, what I am is really scared and I don't trust people. And therefore I wasn't letting this person in. Or let's say if you keep manifesting the same scenario over and over and over. So the universe is telling you, okay, you learn here, right? So we keep hearing these things that the universe will keep sending you the same lesson until you get it. Well, what's the lesson? The lesson is that you're blocking the divine flow in some way, right? When we are born in this human form, no matter how perfect your parents were, every child experiences sometimes where their needs were not met, their needs were not attended to. Even the most loving parent cannot be attentive and present 24/7. And then they're going to go to school and have other experiences and do different things. No matter how much you want to provide the perfect scenario for a child, each child will experience gaps in which their needs were not met. So somewhere around age of 3, 4, 5, we all start to feel that gap, that I want something. I want my mommy's attention 100% because I am used to divine love 100%. And now here I am, I'm not getting my mother's attention. She's tired, she needs to cook, she needs to go to work, whatever is happening, I'm not getting that full attention. So the child starts to develop a way to cope with that. It feels like the need is not met, feels like a void inside, and we all develop a certain pattern to cope with it. Some of us become, I need you, I need you, I need you, I need you. Some of us become cranky. Some of us become the perfect child, trying to please mommy, trying to take care of mommy, trying to finish mommy's chores so she could attend to me. Some of us become caretakers. Some of us become troublemakers. Some of us become squeaky wheels, right? Because the need is natural and the need is there. And we each develop our own certain patterns of how we're going to cope with that unmet need. Now, what happens is these patterns are adaptive when we're 5, but it kind of sort of worked at 5, or we didn't know any other way. So we keep doing that same pattern at age 6, 7, 10, 15, 25, 35, 55. Right? That pattern becomes hardwired.
Yeah.
So it's almost like you're trying to solve that problem of unmet need. Relationship after relationship after relationship, you keep attracting people who are not loving you for who you are or not able to attend with you because you developed a belief or a wound that nobody would love me. I'm not lovable. right? So we all internalize some kind of a limiting belief inside us that limits us from seeing people who actually are capable of loving us, who actually are available and would love to love us if we only let them.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
So, but because at age 5, it feels like I'm gonna die if my mother doesn't love me. So I better be really, really good. I better start becoming very like caretaker or being the best person ever, but best kid ever, or flatter your mother. Like kids come up with all kinds of scenarios, right?
Right. Right.
So that pattern from a 5-year-old's perspective is a lifesaver.
Mm-hmm.
So it literally gets hardwired in our body as a, survival mechanism. And once it's hardwired in your body, you're applying that technique to everything. You grow up, you have friends, you go to work, and you're still being the good girl to tackle every situation. And now people may be taking advantage of you, but you just can't help being a good girl because
Right.
there's hardwiring inside you that that's the only way to get your needs met.
Hmm.
So those are the patterns that become hardwired
Mm-hmm.
energetically in your body, and they live in your chakras.
Mm.
And that's what limits us from really seeing what reality is. We can't even see people who are willing to see us for us, or able to love us for us, or are able to tolerate us being needy, or and have any other different relationship other than that one specific pattern we chose when we were 5.
That's so interesting. And I like how you said, the hardwire becomes that block. And, and so many of us just aren't even clued into the fact that those patterns are from long ago. We think, oh, this is just who I am, or
Yeah.
whatever, right? And taking that time to I know you and I have talked before about that inner child work, which is something you do in your psychotherapy practice, but also like but understanding it from an energetic level, right? Like how does that inner child that maybe if we think about from a psychology point of view, how is that the same or different, or I'm curious just about how you equate the two things, equate it energetically, the inner child as energetically versus sort of the the psychology kind of behind it, or are they different? Are they really that different?
So energy, really, right, is real energy in motion, right? So we're talking about different frequency or intensity of energy that's flowing through you, right? So now so each emotion has its own frequency. It's energy. Each emotion is energy. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Yeah.
Right? So when we get stuck in an emotion, especially holding a certain belief that I have to be at my best behavior, otherwise I will die. And this is an age 5 belief,
Right.
right?
And very intense one.
Right. Or I have to really make sure that my needs get met. They become the real annoying child because they become the squeaky wheel, right?
Right.
Whatever their circumstances. And I guess people have their own intrinsic styles also. We all have different personalities. Um, when that frequency sort of gets hardwired, let's say fear, I'm not safe. Fear is I'm not safe. So that's a certain frequency that really gets like you just got dialed into that, and you're not budging from it. You're not now unable to process that actually it's safe now. Actually, you're old enough now to drive and get in a car and drive and go get a job or make your own money or survive on your own. You don't need to live in fear anymore, right? But it gets really locked, so to speak, on that frequency only. A healthy life is where you're able to shift up and down based on what's happening in the present scenario for you right now, right?
Mm.
Well, very few of us are actually able to be present,
Yeah.
right? For example, let's take a check right now, right now.
Mm.
Well, true for me also. It was all up in my head.
Mm.
And taking a minute to just really coming down into my body, into my breath, what's happening right now,
Mm-hmm.
becoming fully present is such a very subtle shift in energy. It's such a subtle shift in frequency. But this is what happens. You get locked into fear and you develop um, patterns to cope with it. One very common pattern is thinking.
Yeah.
Right? If I do this, and then if I do that, and then I got to do that, and if I get to do that, and if I do that, like, right? It's a survival mechanism
Mm-hmm.
that gets hardwired because deep in your belly, you're locked, your dial is locked on fear. I'm not safe. So now your mind is going. And, I'd love to have the listeners just take a moment right now
Mm.
and notice where most of your energy is right now. Is it in thinking? Are you breathing? Are you aware of your belly? Right? Or so are you able to be present with what's in your surroundings and what's inside you? Or you're going on that auto pattern?
Mm-hmm.
So consciousness work is really mapping, almost getting so familiar with these unconscious knocks where your energy got dialed and locked into
Mm.
because of your previous experiences. And then really mapping what patterns to develop that you hardwired in your nervous system to cope with that one frequency that got locked in your belly. It could be shame. It could be I'm not good enough. It could be I'm not safe to be in this world. Right? That's pretty common. These are very common fears that a lot of us carry in our belly. So as we create a conscious map of how we're blocking, what's the frequency we're locked in, what patterns did we develop, and we created a hardwire process to do that. Then there's a whole energetic tools to really work with softening that lock
Mm.
and bringing it into a place of it's literally if a muscle is really tense,
Yeah.
right? How would you release and relax the muscle by gently massaging it so that it comes back to from rigid to being soft and pliable?
Mm.
It's literally your energetic wiring is locked on fear and locked on survival, and you're going like this. And once you recognize it with consciousness, with several energetic tools, with just bringing it into, there's lots of things that you do in order to bring it to a place of that pattern can relax.
Yeah.
And when it relaxes, that's what it means to have the energetic channel open up. And the
Right.
minute it relaxes from its rigidity, higher wisdom pours right in. It was always there,
Right.
but it was blocked right here. It was blocked in your heart, or it was blocked in your sense of self, in your third chakra, and it just couldn't come through all the way.
Mm.
Does that help with what I mean,
Yeah.
the energy of it?
Yeah. That's beautiful. And for me, I really appreciate the the image of that flow, and the metaphor, that you use, just like a muscle where it's hardened and you can soften and then you can move again. And it's the movement that needs to happen. It's not that you'll never feel fear again or you'll never be sad again, but
Yeah,
it allows for the space for those things to move through you and not, get caught in those.
exactly. And not get stuck in fear only as the only response to everything, even the things that don't need to be scary.
Right, right,
Right?
exactly.
Yeah, sometimes we're afraid of everything, because this keeps going and keeps creating more scenarios in our head that have not happened, are not very likely to happen at all, because this
I'm
keeps
really
going,
good at that.
we are, you know what, I think a lot of us are really good at that, but it's really a survival mechanism that gets hooked in and dialed in and locked. Because it got locked in that pattern is why it just keeps going, and it's an unconscious pattern, which keeps us locked in lower frequency, so we can't access higher frequencies. But once you unlock that,
work.
oh,
Such beautiful work. I mean, even you are such a calming presence to me too. I mean, just having this conversation and listening to you, you know, talk about all these things, but you're just, you know, the calming presence and the confidence in which I know that those tools that you speak of can work, not because I've tried them all or not, you know, but because there's so much truth to the way that you speak, which I really want to honor, and I want everybody to know that that's
thank you.
It is, and I know, you know, there are a lot of folks were posting earlier today. You know, some of you may or may not know, but Archna was a quick switch. There was some scheduling snafu, and I was so glad that you were available to do this. And so many people were just excited to be able to come back and hear this conversation with you. And so whether, you know, you're watching live right now with us or you watch the replay later today, I hope that you are able to feel that calm energy at the end of this day coming through, and the hope. I mean, for me, it's very hopeful, right? That we don't have to be stuck. That there are tools that we can use that will allow these things to move through us.
Yes, absolutely. We do not have to be stuck. When it's actually very simple once you get it. But until we get it, there's a fog, there's an emotional fog that keeps us from seeing it. And therefore, it is really helpful to have someone else put the mirror in front of you.
Yes,
you know?
the mirror.
Because I used to be that Miss Independent, like, I can do it myself.
Yeah.
Right?
No.
I'm a therapist. I can figure this out.
Right. I should know all the things. I know how to do this.
I know. I help other people, so I know how to help myself. You can't teach me anything new that I don't already know. Right?
Are you sure you're not in my head right now?
No, I am talking about me. But what the most humbling learning about that was that part of me that felt almost, I can't ask for help, I'm in a helping profession.
Yeah.
Right? Was really a protective mechanism in me.
Yeah.
That didn't trust that my little girl, that somebody else can hold space for the little girl inside me who needed a mommy.
Yeah.
Right? And a really healthy, balanced system can give and show up for others, but also switch to a little girl and say, yes, my turn now, please. Right? Because that's the point of being flexible, where you can switch, because being competent, being professional doesn't mean that you have to be on and perfect at all times.
Right.
And I think part of the calming energy in me is, it has really come from me really getting really calm inside with my inner child, with my neediness, with, there's still a child inside me that still wonders, like, how do I know this stuff?
Right.
How, and there's the, but what I have learned now, I've learned to recognize that that's the quality of my soul. I will always have that childlike innocence. That's the quality of my soul. That's the quality of my heart archetype. So when you do that level of connecting with yourself, now I don't feel like a child who doesn't know something, but I feel like, oh my God, I know this.
Right.
You know, like it's just, yes, I know this. There's wisdom in me, and there's the childlike innocence in me, and playfulness in me. And I don't know how to do this in me also, like the whole range, right? And that's true for all of us.
Right.
That's true for each and every one of us. And we all like to present the confident side, the we got our shit together side.
Right.
And we hide the stuff we think people don't want to see.
Yeah.
And that hiding is another energetic, like you chop yourself up. You're hiding your shadow. You're hiding, like even calling it shadow, right? These words are called shadow. Why? It's just your inner child who's lonely and insecure and scared, right? What's wrong with that?
Right.
It's normal. Yeah, but shutting that off in putting on a face, putting on a mask, the way we live our lives, the way we're expected, right? The society expects us to show up at work somewhat competent,
Right.
not, you know, but there's very little room for acknowledging that being human means being vulnerable also. And it's through that whole range of movement between softness and vulnerability and heart and courage is the whole human experience. And in bobbing in and out of all of those experiences, there sparks of divine wisdom make their way in. So
oh my God, I learned so much from you, and I'm so appreciative of you being here and teaching us all your wisdom, even your little girl teaching us all her wisdom and her joy and her, curiosity, and that I don't know, but I'm gonna do it anyway. This is how we're just gonna be, right? We just need to go with it and let it all flow.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Sometimes, when somebody asks a question, I think I mentioned that to you another time. It may sound like that the answers are coming from me, right? However, now get this, if there wasn't a question, there cannot be an answer. We are living in a world of polarity, a duality. So you need a positive and a negative for the energy to flow, right? So we just flowed some consciousness into what's it like to have an emotional experience as a human being, right? If you didn't hold the question, the answer could not flow.
Right.
Like I can't just sit by myself at my own desk and answer. I mean, I do.
Right.
But you know what I mean?
I do know what you mean. There has to be that,
So as human beings, even though, and I would love for people to get this who are hearing this, being in pain, being in emotional suffering, being in a down phase is really a role you're playing right now, so that like somebody needs to hold that negative polarity so that from the positive polarity, consciousness can flow into it.
Oh, interesting.
So to hold a question or to say, I feel anxiety, I need help, and for somebody to say, oh, this is what's really going on, and for energy to flow and bring consciousness to anxiety. And when you heal anxiety in your body, because we live in a quantum soup, you also are affecting the physical bodies of other souls on this planet who are also experiencing anxiety in your body.
Yes.
So if you allow yourself to consciously feel anxiety, and let's say I'm helping you move from anxiety to calm, we both created the flow.
Yeah.
I could not have done it alone. You could not have done it alone.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And so that's why it's not a up or down or teacher or student scenario, right? It's literally you're saying, okay, I'm gonna hold the hose here and you're gonna hold the hose there so it can flow.
I love it.
And there's nothing superior or inferior about that.
Right. Right.
Right?
Yes.
I've just practiced this one a bit more. And but I've been there too.
Right.
The reason I know how to flow it is because I've been in all of those places myself.
Yeah.
In deep trenches sometimes.
Yeah.
Right?
That's brilliant. Yeah. You and me both. We know it.
Yeah. So I know a lot of your listeners are leaders themselves. And I guess I guess I just want to, there is no hierarchy really. We each are playing a role. And it's not me teaching something to them, it's them also holding a listening space so something could flow through it. And it's not just me and you or the listener, it literally impacts the whole quantum field each time we
Yes.
resolve a fear, each time we shift from anxiety to calm, each time we shift any emotion to a more higher frequency.
Absolutely.
So
And that's why we have these conversations, right?
that's
So
it.
we can continue.
Yeah. And
So,
see, you knew that at an intuitive level, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Awesome.
All right, my dear. We're going to close out our live stream. I know we've had a few watchers popping in and out. So thank you for watching. Thank you for watching the replay. I am going to put the links to your Facebook groups in our comment section down below, and I'll link them in YouTube as well. So anybody who would like to
Oh, yes.
more.
Can I share a word about those groups?
Yes, please.
So I created 2 Facebook groups. One, and the purpose of both of those Facebook groups is a safe space for people to explore their own emotional journey, right? And to get education around it, or what, I share my own take on things and what's going on. One group is specifically for professionals in a helping profession, like therapists or healers or coaches. I just felt that it would be important to have a separate group for them, because they are usually caretaking others and don't really feel safe attending to their own needs. So it was important to create a separate space for them. And I have another Facebook group, Navigating Our Emotions to Higher Consciousness. That's for anybody interested in really exploring their own emotions and sort of peeling those layers of how they are entangled internally. And each time you untangle them, you gain more consciousness. So the journey of becoming very familiar with your internal emotional mapping towards the process of becoming more conscious. So if anybody's interested in those personal explorations, they're welcome to join the Facebook groups. Both are private.
Awesome. Well, thank you again so much. This was an absolute pleasure. And we will chat again soon. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.